This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to Cattitude. I'm your show host, Michelle Fern. You know, there must be something in the air because this is the second book I've received on thinking about our cats and what happens when they're gone from us. And I think it's just a sign that we as a society are just realizing how important our pets are, especially our feline friends. There's something magical about them. And my guest today wrote this wonderful book that I can't wait to share her with you and talk about her book. So we're going to be right back right after this break.
How many of you have pets? My hand's raised. Now think about how lucky you are to have such a sweet little pet in your life, and that pet is lucky to have you too. But unfortunately, there are countless pets out there that don't have a home to call their own. However, Bob's from Skechers is trying to change that. So we developed Bob's for dogs and cats to help pets in need. With every purchase of adorable Bob's footwear or fun, stylish apparel, or even the cutest Bob's pet accessories, Skechers makes a donation to Petco Love to help save shelter pets. And with your help, we've already saved the lives of over 1 million pets and raised over $7 million. So while you're getting style and comfort with features like Skechers' famous memory foam cushioning, you're also helping to save an adorable pet in need and helping another lucky owner be connected with a future best friend and companion, because happiness is having a loving pet by your side. Find Bob's at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, select Petco locations, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to welcome Allia Zobel Nolan. She is the author of Heavenly Headbutts, Reflections of Hope About Cats and Eternity. Welcome, Allia.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you on. And it's just strange. I hope the universe isn't telling me something, because I just lost Miss Sammy in December. I don't want to lose any more babies, but it's so weird that I have things that are similar. And I just had a book that was more focused toward children. Yours obviously is more focused on adults, and it's very, very different. And I have a thing for quotes and little excerpts, which is what your book's designed. What made you decide to write Heavenly Headbutts?
Well, you know, I am a humorist by trade. I've written 9 books about cats, and they're all humorous. 101 Reasons Why Cats Are Better Than Men, Purr More, Hiss Less, Heavenly Lessons I Learned from My Cat, and things of that nature. But I had 3 cats getting on in years, and one passed away, and then another one passed away about 6 months later, and then 6 months after that another one passed away. And
gosh, I'm sorry.
It just hit me, you know. My cats are, since I'm an author and I spend a lot of time, you know, by myself, they're not just pets, they're my companions, my critics, my inspiration. I read something to them. If they throw up a hairball, I say it's no good. If they purr, I say it's fine. So this really hit me. And I was trying to internalize this, trying to put one foot in front of the other. And while I was doing that, I was looking for books, because a lot of times I look into books to give me a little bit of comfort. And I looked and I looked and I could not find anything. A lot of the books were other people's journeys with their animals who were sick. And I really didn't want to read that. I mean, I feel for them, but I was in such a bad place. I needed something with a little bit of hope. So I looked and looked. And as I said, I decided I was going to write that book that I would like to have gotten at that time that I lost those 3 cats. So that's what I did.
So you also, I have to ask about the title, because you call it Heavenly Headbutts. So there's nose butts and head butts. Or nose pokes. What do you call those? Nose? I don't even know.
I don't know. All I know that my 3 cats were very big on headbutts. And the one that just jumped up on my chair here now is the same. They come over to you and, they might involve their nose, but it's generally their heads. And they just rub it all over you, And when I was thinking of the title, there were a few things that went through my mind. I was thinking of, will you see your cat in heaven, or your cat story is not over, it's to be continued, things like that. But I just thought, it's about heaven, it's about cats, and it's about my cats and what they used to do a lot with headbutts. So that's how I came up with the Heavenly Headbutts. And if you'll notice, my designer did such a great job. The D and the B are butting together.
Yep.
If you notice on the title, she did such a wonderful job. So you never get over it. I have this saying, you never get over it, you just get on with it. And so it really helped me because I believe that cats have a soul and they have an essence, an inner spirit, no matter what religion or how you feel about the afterlife. And I really thought that, this title would work.
Okay, here's something else I found interesting because you've said this, you have it on the back of the book and you have it right on the first page. Will your cat story go on forever? You be the judge. And it has the same information on the back. And what I like about your book a lot, besides that it's beautifully done, it's 4-color, it's gorgeous pictures. There is, some that touches on religion, but there's also a lot that does not, because there's all kinds of people with all kinds of different beliefs out there. What made you decide to put, or what did you mean by, will your cat's story go on forever, you be the judge?
Well, as I said, I do believe when I was doing research on this, because I said, I believe that, but let me see what's out there. Who else believes the way I do? So I did a lot of research and I found that people like C.S. Lewis and the Pope and George MacDonald and a lot of other people really thought that the animals do have a soul. There were these naysayers that said, no, that animals can't go to heaven because they don't have a soul and they can't be redeemed. Okay. Well, I disagree with that. I mean, everyone has their own thoughts about this, but I disagreed with that. And I went in search of others who would bolster up my thoughts and my hopes. And I found so many, and a lot of them had to do with dogs, I must say, but it's the whole idea behind it. I chose cats because cats are my everything. I've been writing about cats for like 10, 20 years, but I do believe that God breathed in, no matter how you think about God, breathed in his life into these animals, and that he certainly is not going to let them just pass out of existence, because the animals really make us feel, we sort of like can reflect upon what we feel God is when we look at animals, because they're so intricate and they're so funny and each one is different. They're like snowflakes. There's so many varieties of animals, but of course the cat is the best. I'm prejudiced that way. But I look at my animals in the morning, I do some meditations and I look at them. And one day my white cat was sitting in the sun and she was preening and grooming herself, and her whiskers just looked like spun sugar. And she was just so beautiful. I said, this reminds me of who made her. She just didn't, pop into existence like a pop-up store. So that's why.
Great answers. How did you choose the pictures? There's so many adorable pictures of cats. That must have been impossible.
I'll tell you, you hit the nail on the top there, because what happened with me was I finished the manuscript and I knew I wanted to use photographs, because photographs nowadays, everybody's into photographs on their phone and their devices, and I wanted to use photographs. So I started to look for photographs that were complementing what I was writing. Like if I was writing about the Garden of Eden or whatever, I was looking for a photograph that depicted the Garden of Eden. So I got that, okay. But then the next one, I wanted to get a bunch of photographs together that would illustrate what I was saying in the manuscript. And I saw some, but each photograph was different. They didn't have the same lighting and they didn't have the same composition. And it kind of looked like a mishmash. So what I did was I read the manuscript again and I said, this is really about cats. So I think that if you had the sayings and you had the thoughts and the affirmations and you got a cat photo that really went with this would work out. And so I must have looked at, if I looked at 10, I looked at 5,000 photographs of cats. And I picked the ones that I thought were poignant, and some are happy. And it isn't all sad. It's not just all, pictures of dead cats or whatever, or sick cats. They're all uplifting, I want to say, and they're poignant, but they're insightful. So that's what I did. I went with the cat pictures. And also, I have a friend who has a blog, Sundays at the Shelter, and she's been taking photographs of cats for, I want to say, 10 years. I looked at some of her photographs, and some of hers were really very nice. So I used some of hers. But I gave it to my designer who did such a wonderful job on the inside. I looked at that and I almost fell off my chair. It was done so beautifully. And when you look at it and when you read it, you do tend to, it hits you in the heart, but it also gives you hope and expectation. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to leave it all sad. There's a picture of a girl taking a photograph of her cat on the counter where he's not supposed to be. And they're photographs of, if you have cats, they're photographs of cats that you can relate to. And that's what I wanted.
I have a text that kind of looks like the photograph of the girl taking the picture of the cat on the counter where they're not supposed to be. Mine's Molly, and she's a diva, and she's always where she's not supposed to be. Mine are lazy. They don't jump that much.
They don't jump that much.
Okay, so let me ask you about this, because some of your information in here, because you talked about heaven, and some does mention some religion. What would you say if someone said, well, I think your book is good for anyone, whether they have a cat now and have lost a cat or not lost a cat, because it does cover a lot of things. And like you say, it's reflections of hope about cats and eternity. What would you say if someone said, yeah, but it sounds heavenly, it sounds like a little too religious? What would you say to that? Because I get all kinds of questions, and I could see that coming in an email.
I had that. I had some reviewers say it's very Christian. However, when I wrote, I put all kinds of, James Harriet is quoted in there. It's not just Christian, although it does lean towards that. However, I left it up to the person. If you are going to pick up a book like this, you think about the afterlife, or you do have some kind of an impression of God, whether it's the Christian God or the Hindu God or the Jewish God. If you pick up a book like this and you have an expectation that this life is not all there is, then, you can look at this and take what I wrote with a grain of salt. You can take what you want out of it, the good parts that relate to you or that you get, in quotes. And as I said, I'm not proselytizing. At the end, I said, I believe, do you believe? So you are the ultimate judge. After you reading all of this information, you take what you want from it and you make your own decision.
I love that, because there's a lot of different types of religions. And you mentioned some, there's even more than that. There's so many, though, of those religions. Either a lot of them do believe in maybe an afterlife or a better place, or a spirit of a better place. Maybe like, it's not like you climb Stairway to Heaven, that old Led Zeppelin song. It's not like you climb up and, you're in heaven. It might not be like that way for you, but it might be that there's another alternative universe, all kinds of different ones, because there's so many different aspects these days. So I like that you're saying, you know what, just it might be here, it might be there, it might be this. But to me, it kind of says, know that your cat spirit is in a place, whatever you imagine it to be, and that gives you comfort.
Right. And I also think, and I hope I got this through, is that your spirit and their spirit is going to be reunited. That's what I believe. In whatever form, I'm not going to say that it's going to be, your tabby or your tuxedo is going to come running to you, but their essence, the spirit, the God-breathed spirit is going to hook up with you because you have love, and that love goes on. It doesn't stop.
On that note, we're going to take a short break and we're going to come right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Allia Zobel Nolan. She is the author of Heavenly Headbutts, Reflections of Hope about Cats in Eternity, and also she has written a ton of other books. You can find them at her website, alliawrites.com, and this will also be on the episode page on Pet Life Radio for this episode of Cattitude. So here's something else. I've thought about this and I'm thinking, I bet you have a good answer for this. What is the best way to present your book to someone whose cat has passed on? Because that's a hard thing. I mean, sometimes, I've had this happen, a cat that was sudden pass, and sudden pass is hard because you don't know it's coming. And then and I'm a dog and cat person. I've had with a dog that most recently with Mr. Z in 2020, he was, getting up there and getting sick, and I knew it was happening, and then it did. So, but who knows to say what's worse? They're all devastating to the pet parent. How do you present your book? What would you say? How would you introduce it to someone that's suffering from a recent loss of a cat?
Well, that's a tough one. But I have offered this to people because I belong to the Cat Writers Association, and every day I get an email that, Fluffy died, or this one, this cat died, and it just hits me in the gut, because you feel it, you feel for those people. So what I do is I send them a little email or a post that says, I'm with you, I understand, I've gone through it, I lost 3 cats in a row. It was devastating and gut-wrenching. And to help me, I wrote this book. And it might help you. It might be a comfort to you. And I'm offering it to you. That's what I'd say. I mean, some people don't believe in God or heaven or whatever, so that's not for them. And I understand that. But I also feel that if your cat is sick, and you had mentioned a cat that died unexpectedly, but I think that this book is also good to prepare people. It has all these lovely sayings and things that are hopeful and give you expectation. So I'm thinking that if you know someone that had a cat who's sick and you commiserate with them because you've gone through it, you might offer it. You might say, this might help you. It's to help a person, to give them comfort, to give them also, if they're reading it, that's 10 minutes that they're not grieving. They're immersed in a book. They're immersed in, some people said that some of the things are humorous in there. So it's to let the person put one foot in front of the other, step out, because I know I was such a wreck. And like I say, you never get over it. You just get on with it. And this is a way to offer comfort and expectation. And that's why I wrote it. I wrote it as much to help me as to help others. And I look at it like the cover photo took me a very long time to get because it had to have just the right feeling. And we went through, I want to say, 60 iterations of the cover until I found this photo and I said, this is it. Because the feeling of the woman and the feeling of the cat are just, you can see it in the cover. That's the way we feel about our pets. And if you can offer any kind of comfort whatsoever, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. You talked about some other books that you've written. But are there a couple more that you could mention before we wrap up?
Well, I wrote another book during the pandemic, and it's called Why a Cat is Still Better Than a Man. And it's not male bashing, it's cat enhancing. People say to me, don't you get pushback from men? I say no, because it's all in fun. It's not male bashing, it's cat enhancing. So what are some of the reasons the cat is better? Well, cats are not interested in cleavage unless it's big enough to sleep in. A cat would never wear a pinky ring or hang a moose head in the living room.
You must have one about the remote.
Yes, well, cats let you share the remote, but I love this one. Cats think you need a lot of shoes. A cat would never finish your sentences, and a cat would never have a hemorrhage if you crashed your car. So they're all in fun, it's all in fun. We have so much seriousness going on and terrible things happening. I like to bring a little humor into things as well.
Yes, of course. And can you give us any hints to your next book?
Actually, I just signed a contract for a book, a children's book, because I also do children's books, and it's called Harriet Hurry Up and the Oh So Slow Day. It's about a little girl like me who hates to wait. She hates to wait for the sun to come up. She hates to wait for the syrup to pour. She hates to wait for the traffic, and it goes on and on. And so that'll be out 2020, the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Oh, I do want to add that my Heavenly Headbutts is on Amazon as well.
Okay, yes. And where can people find your books?
Amazon has them all, and used to be in a lot of bookstores, but there's not a lot of bookstores anymore. So Amazon's the best place because I'm very busy writing and I don't have time to, sell from my website. I let Amazon do that. I have to do the writing. They can do the selling.
And Allia, what cat do you have now?
Where is she? Oh, she's in her unicorn. I have Colleen Fiona.
She's in her unicorn?
I bought this unicorn. It's like a hovel. It's like a little thing that you go into, like a bed with a little, I can't explain it. And it looks like a unicorn.
Oh my God.
And so she goes in there and she sleeps, and she doesn't have to worry about any, because her brother tends to be a little bullying. So Colleen Fiona Shannon Nolan, I couldn't just name her one thing because I couldn't make up my mind. And I have my big Bubba, my black cat, whose name is Nolan Nolan. And the reason why is when I went to the rescue, his name was Nolan already. So I called my husband and said, we have to get this cat because it might be a relative. So
it's like kismet, meant to be, yes.
It was meant to be. So we call him Nolan Nolan. And from the cat lady who never, ever, ever had a dog, we just rescued a rescue dog from South Carolina. And she's the best dog in the whole world. She's like a cat. She doesn't bark. They must have done something to them down there because she doesn't bark at all. The bell rings, people walk around, she doesn't bark, which is great because, I'm working all day and, if she was barking, it wouldn't be good. No. So,
what kind of dog is she?
She is an unbelievable dog. She's an American foxhound. Can you believe it? They have these unbelievable dogs at rescues. American foxhound. And guess what we named her? Miss Kitty. We named, and I'll tell you why. There's a story for everything always. My husband, we've had cats our whole lives, and he's always, going to the kids, come here, kitty, here, kitty, here, kitty. And so he was doing that to the dog. So we said, well, let's name her Miss Kitty. And that's what we name her. But what a lovely, I never knew about dogs, because I never had dogs. But this dog is so great. I mean, really, she's just, and boy, is she fast. She runs like a racehorse. She's unbelievable. So now I'm bipedal. I have cats and dogs.
Okay, so now you have to listen to more Pet Life Radio shows so you can find out more about dogs, because we have so many shows. There's dog shows, there's Cattitude is the best one.
Okay.
Of course. But we have a lot of dog shows and vet shows too. So
yes, I have to.
Some info.
I have to listen to because I know nothing about dogs, but this dog is so like a cat. It licks its paws and it sleeps all day. It's very cat-like.
It's funny because Dennis is part Maine Coon, and I thought he was kind of like very dog-like, and I found out they're the, dog of cat world.
Maine Coons.
He's not true Maine Coon because he's not quite as big, but
right.
He's weird. He sleeps on his back with one leg lifted. Always.
I love to see that. Oh, wow.
I mean, he has a crunchy ear. He's had all kinds of adventures in his life.
Right.
But our time's almost up. So again, people can go to Amazon. You'll look up for Heavenly Headbutts, and it's alliawrights.com for your website. Allia, this has been so much fun talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on Cattitude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I hope everyone listening to Cattitude enjoyed this show today. I had so much fun talking to Allia. Please be sure to check out her book. It's called Heavenly Headbutts. It's really just a darling book, and it's just so sweet. Her website is alliawrights.com, and that's spelled ALLIAWRITES.com. And you can also find, if you're bicycling or exercising or playing with your kitty while listening to this, you can go to the show page of this episode, and you can find that on PetLifeRadio.com. Go to Cattitude, and you'll find this show and click on it, and you'll have episode notes, and her website will be listed. So be sure to check it out. And thanks to my guest, Allia Zobel Nolan, for coming on this show. She was so much fun. A wonderful book. Thanks to my cat crew, Dennis, Charlotte, Molly, and Jethro, and Mr. Nicky the dog. Thanks, of course, to everyone listening to Cattitude for making Cattitude such a popular show, and for helping us get out the word of, we're not a segmented show. We're not just about TNR. We're not just about tricks or this or that. We're about anything and everything cat. So there's all kinds of shows. And if you've listened for a while, I kind of lean towards TNR and rescue and adoption because I'm so passionate about that. But I always like to include other things too. And like today's show, this is so important because unfortunately our cats don't stay with us forever. And this is such a great gift or something good for yourself, for someone who's lost a cat recently. We hate to think about that, but it's life. It happens. So thank you again to everyone listening to Cattitude. I very much appreciate it. And of course, I could not close my show without thanking my amazing producer, Mark Winter, for making me and my guest sound amazing. He does a phenomenal job. So thank you, Mark. And remember, lose the attitude, have Cattitude.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.